Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final plenary session and handover ceremony of the Ukraine Recovery Conference 2025. Over the past 2 days, Rome has had the honor of hosting this key international platform, bringing together governments, institutions, business leaders, and civil society in a shared commitment to Ukraine's recovery, reconstruction, and long-term development. Today's ceremony marks the official conclusion of the 2025 edition and the symbolic transition to next year's event.
We are pleased to welcome on stage high-level representatives of the countries symbolically and also operationally involved in this handover today. Italy, as the host country of URC 2025. Ukraine, as the country at the heart of our joint efforts. And Poland, the candidate to host the 2026 edition of the Ukraine Recovery Conference.
We are honored to acknowledge the presence of the following dignitaries who are taking part in this handover ceremony. The Honorable Edmondo Cirielli, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The Honorable Alexei Sobolev, First Deputy Minister of Economy of Ukraine. The Honorable Paweł Kowal, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Polish Parliament and President of the Council for Cooperation with Ukraine. Let us now hear closing remarks from each of the representatives, beginning with the Honorable Edmondo Cirielli, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Italy.
Mr. First Deputy Minister Sobolev, President Kowal, authorities, delegates, and guests, I'm particularly glad to speak on behalf of the Italian government at the closing of this conference for the reconstruction of Ukraine. It has been an event that brought together representatives from 17 countries and 45 international organizations, hundreds of civil society and local government representatives, and above all, from the business sector, was presence numbered in the thousands. More than 200 agreements were signed, 40 signed just by Italy. Such a large and qualified participation underlines the extraordinary interest that Ukraine and its recovery process generate on the political, economic, and social level. Referring to words of President Meloni yesterday, from the very first day of the brutal, illegal, and unjustified Russian armed aggression, Italy has stood by Ukraine and will continue to do so. This is a rewarding result that has confirmed existing collaboration and paved the way for many others that we hope can develop successfully in the months to come. New financial commitments amounting to the 10 billion euros are a tangible sign of the support that the international community wants to reaffirm towards Ukraine. We show that strong and principled political commitment can go hand in hand with pragmatism. Reconciling politics and policy, it's not easy, but we did it. We are doing it in the face of the adversity. We show that investing in security also means leaving no one behind. That security means also investing in pediatric hospitals, in irrigation, in railways and electricity, in housing school system and satellite technology, in the rehabilitation of war veterans and the restoration of cultural heritage. Among others, Italy has implemented much of the commitment announced last year in Berlin, launching as well new tools that involve our main institution for cooperation, concessional finance, support for exports and investments. In particular, I wish to highlight the bilateral memorandum of understanding on facilitated finance and the launch of the new European flagship fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine, promoted by the European Commission, which we have joined with France, Germany and Poland. All of this hoping that we will soon reach an end of hostilities and start a process of peace, no matter how complex and difficult. Italy's commitment will continue alongside international partners with whom collaboration has been further strengthened in these 2 days. I would also like to say that the URC does not stop in Rome, of course. We have thousands of follow-ups up to be done, but more importantly, there is a strong candidacy for hosting the URC next year from a country which is close to my heart and that I also visited recently. Therefore, I have the floor to the Honorable Paweł Kowal, Chairman of the Steering Committee of the Polish Parliament and head of the Polish Committee for the Reconstruction of Ukraine. Thank you all and see you next year, of course.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. It is now our pleasure to give the floor to His Excellency Oleksiy Sobolev, the first Deputy Prime Minister of Economy of Ukraine.
Dear Edmondo Cirelli, dear Honorable Paweł Kowal, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here, for being with us for the last 3 days, so 2 days of the conference, but I know many of you have been working here extensively during the previous day. Let me sincerely thank our Italian hosts for organizing this year's conference and all our friends and partners for the active participation. And I'd like to give a huge thanks to the team of Davide Cecilia, who helped to execute the conference despite everything, and there was a lot of everything. And I also would like to thank the teams of the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, led by Maria Zakharenko, and team of MFA, led by Kira Spiridonova, for their great work in helping us to be here. Thank you. Thank you. URC 2025 has brought together over 6,000 participants from 70 countries across the world and 43 international organizations, plus many more contributing to making the event possible. And we're looking forward for final figures that will reflect the full scale of just joint effort, but we already can say that this is the largest and the most productive URC event held. This is fact. So we already seen more than 200 agreements between state and private entities, and total value exceeds 10 billion euros. But we're still calculating that. Thank you. So among some of the key highlights is the strong continued support from the European Union. And the EU has announced a new 2.3 billion package of agreements under the Ukraine investment framework. Last year's conference, we've seen 1.4 billion of package. So this is quite an increase. The second is that we'd like to highlight is this European flagship fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine by European Commission and Italy and Poland and France and Germany with other IFIs, European Investment Bank together, and 1 billion for macro-financial assistance package for Ukraine. That shows continued European commitment and shows our progress as a future European member. We also had a number of very important announcements and agreements reached with our host country, Italy, as was just presented, as well with the other partners like EBRD, AB, Council of Europe Development Bank, World Bank, Switzerland, Norway, France, UK, Belgium, Germany, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, and many others. So we can continue just showing how productive this conference was. And the feedback that I got from many of you, I tried to talk with people around this conference and get the feedback, is what differentiates this conference is the buzz. Many people cited the buzz. Maybe it's the buzz of Italian summer, but maybe it's the buzz of the business fair below. Maybe it's the buzz of Recovery Forum. Maybe it's the buzz of the regions of Ukraine. It's definitely the buzz of the Ukrainian defense sector. This is the first time ever was presented here. And defense sector that protects Ukraine right now and protects Europe right now from the Russian aggression. Thank you. I'd like to also point that many people highlighted the more extensive presence of our US partners here. And I think during this point in time, this is also very present and sends a really great signal. And this is a powerful signal of trust in Ukraine and our shared recovery agenda. So closing this year's conference, I can assure you we're already starting preparation for the next URC, and as was just said, following up on the many agreements and commitments. I think you and your organizations are trying to do that as well, aiming at making it even more productive next year than this one. And we welcome the fact that Poland is among the countries that are ready to host the future URC, and this is a strong gesture of solidarity. So thank you once again. Slava Ukraini. See you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. To conclude this handover, it is now our pleasure to invite the Honourable Paweł Kowal, President of the Council for Cooperation with Ukraine and Chief of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Polish Parliament.
Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear Edmondo, Davide, Alexei, I would like to congratulate the organization of the huge holistic political event. I would like to congratulate you, especially the serious political impact of this year URC conference. I thought, what is the essence of that our meeting in Rome? And in my opinion, the essence is that the West, in the birthplace of the West culture, in Rome, demonstrated unity. It is a result of personal achievement of the Italian leadership led by Prime Minister Meloni. Applause for Prime Minister Meloni. That was exciting yesterday to sit at the same table and spoke the same language with the Americans, Brits, Canadians about the future architecture of world security. It was, ladies and gentlemen, a conference about recovery, but not only. But it was also a conference about the future shape of European security. Few words about next year. We dream. We dream of opening a new chapter of European history. Let's open next year the chapter of recovery in peace. Today, it's an important day. The patron saint of these days is Saint Benedict. Benedict of Nursia, it's a patron of the unity of Europe, East and West, East and West. Coincidence? I don't think so. We confirmed here in Rome the opening a new chapter of Ukraine's presence in Europe. We confirmed that the doors to European Union for Ukraine will definitely open. I would like to congratulate also many financial decisions, especially launching of the European flagship fund. I'm proud, I'm personally proud that Poland was among its creators. Their minister, their Davide, their minister Alexei. Poland was the first to help Ukrainians after all-out Russian invasion 2022. As said, President Zelensky is Polish parliament. I remember kind of humanitarian uprising in Poland to help Ukrainians on the border, to invite Ukrainians to our homes, to be ready to help in any case. Ladies and gentlemen, Poland is ready to support recovery processes in Ukraine and also to organize the next Ukrainian Recovery Conference. You are all invited to my beautiful country, to Poland. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Kowal. With these final remarks, the final plenary session and handover ceremony is over.
With this handover, though, the journey continues. We now pass the torch to next year's edition, confident that the Ukraine Recovery Conference 2026 will build on the foundations laid here in Rome, with renewed energy and collective resolve.
Thank you to all the speakers for their words of commitment, partnership, and vision, and to all of you for being with us and for your unwavering support to Ukraine's recovery. Grazie.